Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zoning in on something really specific. We're talking to those of you in the final countdown for the RCDD exam.
Exactly. So if you're just starting out, this probably isn't for you. We're speaking directly to folks who've put in the hard yards, weeks, maybe months, deep in the TDMM, working through problems, hitting those practice tests.
Right. You've built that foundation. Now the mission for this deep dive is, well, how do we sharpen that? What are the expert moves for this final phase?
Think of it like calibration. You've got the knowledge. Now it's about tweaking things for exam day. We know you've spent ages reviewing, doing practice questions.
A lot of time, yeah.
So our goal here is to make sure all that effort really pays off in these last crucial days.
Okay, let's jump right in. Strategy number 1. The final review plan. We're calling it strategic compression.
Yeah, it's interesting. At this point, a lot of people feel they need to just, read the TDMM again cover to cover.
Right. Seems logical, but
But it's maybe not the smartest use of time right now. You probably already know where you're a bit shaky.
you nailed it. Rereading whole chapters, probably diminishing returns at this stage. That's where this idea of compression is so key. Focus your energy.
So, okay, compression.
Yeah.
Practically speaking, what does that look like for someone listening now in these final, say, 2 weeks?
It means mapping out a really focused, maybe 10-day, 14-day plan, max. And this isn't about covering everything again. It's about zeroing in on your specific weak spots, the ones you found during those practice tests. And within that plan, you've got to prioritize the, let's call them high-yield areas.
High yield, good term.
Yeah.
So for the listener, what kind of sections typically fall into that category for the RCDD? What should they be looking for?
Well, think foundations, right? Pathways and spaces, you can't get away from that.
Yeah.
Bonding and grounding, absolutely critical. Safety, performance.
Non-negotiable.
Exactly. Then you've got telecommunication spaces themselves, the requirements there, fire stopping, definitely, and those life safety standards. Focusing hard on these areas now can really move the needle.
And the how of studying shifts too, doesn't it? It's less about heavy reading and more about condensed materials.
Totally. Your flashcards, summary sheets, maybe you made your own cheat sheets, those are your best friends now.
Right. Use those tools you've already created.
Exactly. The goal now isn't really learning brand new stuff. It's about making sure what you do know is rock solid. So commit maybe an hour a day, at least, just drilling those tricky concepts with your notes.
Yeah, it's a shift from passive reading to active recall. Hitting those specific points where you know you need the practice, it feels more targeted.
It is. It's strategic.
Yeah.
Forget the comfort of just rereading. Focus on reinforcing and patching up those weaker spots. Okay, let's shift gears. Step 2, full-length mock exams. But more importantly, what you do with them afterwards.
Right. We're kind of assuming everyone at this stage is doing timed full-length mocks, so that's table stakes, really.
Sure.
But just doing them isn't enough. The real value, the learning accelerator, is the postmortem, the analysis.
Couldn't agree more. Finishing the test is just step 1. Step 2, the deep dive into what went wrong. That's where the improvement comes from.
So what should people be doing, like immediately after finishing a practice test?
Log every single wrong answer. Don't just glance at it, write it down.
Okay. And
Then you need to figure out why you got it wrong. Start grouping the errors. Is it a theory gap? Like you just didn't understand the concept.
Or maybe application. You knew the theory but couldn't apply it to that specific scenario.
Exactly. Or is it standards-based? You just didn't know or couldn't find that specific requirement in the TDMM.
That categorization is so powerful
Oh, my
because then
God.
you see patterns, right? Oh, I keep messing up on, say, grounding specific.
Precisely. Each mistake stops being a failure and becomes data, a learning opportunity, pointing you straight to where you need to focus your compressed review.
And if you see those patterns, you can target your study and hopefully stop making the same mistake again on the real thing.
It flips the whole script on practice tests, doesn't it? They become diagnostic tools, not just scorecards.
Very much so.
And while we're talking mocks, let's touch on timing. If you're constantly running out of time, like not finishing sections,
Yeah, that's a major red flag.
now is absolutely the time to fix that. Experiment with your pacing. How long on this type of question versus that type? You have to get comfortable finishing within the time limit.
Definitely. Leaving questions blank because you ran out of time, that's just giving points away. Practice for speed and accuracy.
Okay, moving on. Step 3. This is what we're calling the golden nugget for an open book exam like the RCDD, mastering the TDMM index and glossary.
Ah, yes. The open book thing. It sounds like a safety net, doesn't it?
It does, but it can be a trap. A false sense of security.
Because the assumption is, oh, I'll just look it up, but the killer is the clock.
Exactly. Time. You just don't have minutes to leisurely flip 2 pages for every other question. You'll crash and burn.
You need to be fast, really fast. We're talking, what, 30 seconds or less to find what you need?
Ideally, yeah. Maybe even faster for some things. So your job now becomes getting incredibly familiar with that index and glossary. They're your navigation tools.
Your roadmap through that massive manual.
So how do you practice? Actively use them. Don't just glance. Flip through the index daily. Quiz yourself. Where would I find X? What section covers Y? Start memorizing the general location of key table standards diagrams.
Tabs can help, sure, marking key sections, but don't rely only on tabs.
Good point.
You need that sort of muscle memory, knowing instinctively where to turn, even without a visual cue like a tab.
That's the goal. Internalize the structure. Think about the exam differently. It's not just about knowing stuff off the top of your head. It's about knowing where the information lives and how fast you can get to it.
Yeah, it changes how you even approach the TDMM in these last days. It's not just a book you studied, it's a tool you need to wield expertly under pressure. Okay, next up, something often overlooked, mental endurance.
Right. The RCDD isn't a quick quiz. It's long. Multiple hours.
It's a marathon, like you said earlier, and your brain gets tired, just like your body would. Maintaining focus for that long, it's tough.
It really is. Which is why, in these last days, you absolutely need to simulate it. Practice sitting for that full exam duration. No distractions. Just you and practice questions.
Yeah, treat your practice sessions like the real deal. Same time limit, same intensity.
Think of it as mental conditioning, training your focus muscle, building resistance to fatigue.
Because you need both, right?
Right.
Accuracy on the questions, yes, but also the stamina to maintain that accuracy for the whole exam.
Exactly. You want to be sharp on question 100 just like you are on question 1. You don't want mental fatigue creeping in halfway through and causing silly mistakes.
So by exam day, you're not just knowledgeable, you're mentally prepped for the duration, conditioned.
Right. Okay, we've hit strategic compression, learning from mock errors, mastering the TDMM navigation, building mental endurance. Now for the final piece, maybe the most crucial, the 72-hour rule.
Ah, the final countdown, those last 3 days, they are absolutely critical.
And the #1 rule for these 72 hours.
Do not cram. Absolutely, positively do not try to cram new information.
Seriously, it's the worst thing you can do. It just ramps up anxiety, tires you out.
And probably doesn't stick anyway. The focus has to shift completely. It's about active recall now, not input.
So what does that look like? Use your flashcards again, quick reviews, skim your error logs, remind yourself of those patterns you found.
Maybe do one last quick practice session just on navigating the index and glossary, speed drills.
Right. Reinforce, don't introduce, keep it light. It's about confidence building and recall, not heavy lifting.
And just as important, maybe more so, is managing your physical state and environment. Get your materials organized now. Don't be scrambling the morning of.
Oh, definitely. Know where everything is, but even bigger than that, manage yourself. Calm mind, rested body.
Sleep. Seriously prioritize sleep in those last few nights. Proper sleep.
Hydration, too. Drink water, maybe some light exercise, walk, stretch, whatever helps you de-stress.
Because showing up tired, stressed, or frazzled, that undermines all the technical studying you did. Success isn't just about knowing the TDMM.
It's about being in the right state, clear, calm, composed, to actually use that knowledge effectively under pressure.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's quickly recap those 5 expert strategies for the final push. 1. Strategic compression for your review.
2. Learn deeply from your mock exam mistakes. Analyze those errors.
3. Become a ninja navigator of the TDMM index and glossary. Speed is key.
4. Train that mental endurance. Simulate the exam duration.
And 5. Respect the 72-hour rule. No cramming. Focus on recall, rest, and readiness.
Look, you've already done the really hard work. The months of study, the practice, that's the heavy lifting.
Yeah, that's done.
Now it's all about refining strategies, staying focused, and walking into that exam room feeling confident because you are prepared.
Which leads to a final thought for everyone listening. Take a moment right now. As you head into these last few days, honestly, how ready do you feel? Not just the technical stuff, but mentally, physically.
What tiny adjustments could you make right now in these final hours to make sure you're truly at your peak when that clock starts?
Something to really consider.
We're definitely looking forward to hearing about your successes. Getting that RCDD certification is a huge achievement. So stay focused, trust your prep.
And good luck. We're rooting for you.